We're here on day one of Printing United on the Konica Minolta stand. So can you please introduce your name and your role at Konica Minolta?
Sure, thank you for joining us. My name's Jason Dizzine. I'm the Vice President of Product Marketing, Portfolio Management here at Konica Minolta.
Excellent. So you had a press conference earlier which is updating us on a lot of your new solutions, some of the trends you're seeing, kind of updates from the company. A big part of that was just emphasizing embellishment, which is a big part of the technology you have. So I just wanted to ask you about why is that such a big focus for you now, and what developments are you seeing there?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. And we believe that digital embellishment is really becoming part of the norm when it comes to a lot of brand enhancements, right? A lot of brand owners, a lot of commercial printers are looking, let's take it down to two ways, right? Commercial printers are looking for new opportunities and new areas of growth, but we know our brand owners are looking for ways to differentiate their products. And doing that through digital embellishment really can do that, because now we're introducing the science of visual and tactile approach to packaging or to documents, where we're seeing something that's really striking visually, but when you touch it and feel it, it's way more memorable, which makes it more valuable. We're seeing it in all kinds of markets, higher end trends, higher end brands and products like that. So we definitely see with our digital technology together, whether it's through the printing aspects and then the embellishing, it's a great combination, a lot of synergy in the technology.
And something interesting I thought you guys said was the fact that it's becoming almost like the baseline of expectation.
That's right.
But also you're kind of encouraging a lot of designers to start thinking about it as well. So do you want to talk about how you're kind of encouraging more of it in the industry?
For sure. I think one of the keys to embellishment, we saw this in the industry with fifth and sixth color when that first came around, was getting the designers to understand, number one, how to design for it. That's a key, but also the importance of designing with digital embellishment or fifth color to really make that end product stand out, right? That's what we're trying to do. So things like educating them on why it's important, but then giving them tools to make it easy to do it. So I mentioned the partnership, with Adobe, you heard that mentioned, and also with Color Logic. So we're constantly looking for tools to make it easier for them to design.
And you're also giving us some updates on sort of customer growth and the market share, which is really refreshing. You kind of see that transparency from Konica Minolta. We were saying before we started recording that you see a lot of synergy there with the European market as well. So do you want to just give us an overview as to what that kind of give us insight into?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we partner very closely with our European counterparts. I think keeping an eye on not only the trends in the industry or the market share and things like that, but what's important to customers both here in the US and in Europe. So what applications are driving that growth? Not that there's just growth, and not that we're shipping more units. That's fantastic. I don't want to, make that any less important. But why? What are customers looking for, and as a team, how do we work together to build the future portfolio to support those applications? So, key partner for us in the production industrial print business is our European counterparts, for sure.
Absolutely. So a machine that you've highlighted at this show is the 5th gen AcurioJet 3000. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so that's our high-speed inkjet product. Really built off, you saw in the presentation today, built off a fantastic foundation of our KM1 product, and this is really that new branded next version of it with some improvements, more firepower, better controller. So we're really excited to launch that product now. So very important to us on the high-speed inkjet side.
And what sort of market is that kind of like answering solutions for, would you say?
Oh man, it's really on the commercial print side. Anybody that's looking for B2 volume, they have that need for ink. Maybe the substrates are pretty various. So anyone that's looking for that UV ink market is where that product sits.
Great. And talking about commercial printers, something you mentioned was the fact that how many of them are embracing label technology as well.
Yeah.
So there you've got the kind of switch to digital, and having the benefits of inkjet. I think you said about things like, being able to run it for longer, but also being able to, maybe printers who don't typically run it every single day, the fact that they can have something that they can switch on after 3-4 days.
That's
as
right.
well.
That's right.
So do you want to just talk about the advantages of your label stuff?
Yeah, and that's really the advantage of our label presses being toner, right? To have a web-based label press that can really be used truly as label on demand. We talk a lot about print on demand. Now giving these folks the ability to do labels on demand, do those shorter runs, and be able to use the press when they have demand and not worry about, like Frank said in the presentation today, about having ink heads that need to be primed and run constantly. It also gives a lot of flexibility on the type of media we can run through it. Being toner based, whether it's coated, uncoated, or different types of stocks. With our AL400 having white, we can bring in foils or clear media now. So that's really the advantage that we've seen with our toner-based label presses. Then when you look at how you drive the next level back to embellishment, I can't stop talking about it.
Yes, yeah.
Is where that 3DW that you saw. Now that's a digital embellishment press for labels that allows us to now take that printed label, embellish it, but also finish it so it's application ready. So that's where we get from the start of the idea to they'll go through the full journey and have a completely finished product at the end. So that's where we're seeing that connection.
Something that can encompass all of this, I guess, is perhaps your collaboration with Adobe, which goes back to what you were saying about design and implementing embellishment.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that and how that's kind of been used in links with like educational facilities and that kind of thing as well?
Well, I can tell you where I think it'll go with that, right? It's a very new relationship, and the idea is just to make embellishment as simple as possible. And when we have a brand like Adobe getting behind us and actually building that technology into their creative suites, it's just going to make it much easier to teach designers and teach them in a way that they're already used to designing in and making it simple. Now, you go back to the education point, even think about what we're doing, what we mentioned at Cal Poly, working with students there, right? If we start teaching them now why embellishment's important, using the partnership with Adobe to show how easy it can be developed, I think that'll help us grow that market in the future, So.
And that's definitely something we've seen, in the UK and Europe is, that kind of need for the next generation of printers, encouraging, younger people into the industry. I guess that kind of links in with that. But
100%.
Also the case studies you had as well, some people talking about, labor shortages, but, somebody from, Fox Press, I think, said that, it's not a shortage, it's just having them trained for the right presses.
You're right on. I think it's only a shortage if you don't have the ability to train folks, entice them to come in, but also look at what they're comfortable with. So that's where the automation comes in. It might not be a labor shortage. Maybe we should say like a skilled labor shortage in some cases, to say if you're willing to take folks that aren't from the industry, bring them in and train them, then we're solving that problem. But if we do it with using technology that we have in the device to automate more and make it easier, then I think it's a win-win.
And lastly, you've got your new Acurio Wide 250HS as well.
Yes.
So you said you've been doing wide format solutions since about 2018. Since
about 2018 through with the UV platform that we have today. We're going to leave that platform in space because I want to have a scalable portfolio for customers that might be just getting into wide format or into UV technology, and then giving them the roadmap that goes all the way up to 3.2 meters with the new HS will be, I think, a big win and a real solid portfolio.
Yeah. So the entire portfolio, like I said, there's lots of benefits there for people who are diversifying. I think you also mentioned was the 60,000, which was announced at Drupa.
60,000 that was announced at Drupa would be the follow-up to that high-speed inkjet, right?
Yeah.
So that's the next generation of the AJ 30,000, which will be the 60,000. Yep.
Yeah. So people keep an eye out for that one.
Keep an eye out. You'll see more and hear more about that.
Yeah. Cool.
As we refer. So
awesome. Well, if anybody wants to come and swing by the stand at Printing United, is there anything specific that you would say?
Come see us at booth 5200. We're here. We love talking to everybody. If we can help answer questions or just kind of talk about folks' journey in production industrial print, that's what we're here for. So I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.